Well, I would like to read something from this book, My Master. I've already told you, I think, about how it came to be written. I would, talking about the environment and the atmosphere, I had accompanied Babuji Maharaj to Salem. We were accommodated in the residence of an Abhyasi. All went well the whole day, but at night, Master was extremely restless and slept only in fits and starts. When I woke up next morning, I found Babuji Maharaj quite restless and exhausted. The second night, we moved to a nearby hotel, and I was happy that Master slept deeply and continuously right through that night. When he woke up, Master said, "Look here, we are in a hotel where thousands of people come and go, but the atmosphere is better and purer than at that place where we stayed last night. Is it not a shameful thing that the atmosphere of the house should be so gross and dirty, while a hotel room is cleaner? What to say of the people who live there in that house? It's a shameful thing that people mold their lives in such a way that their environment is completely polluted and spoiled. Really speaking, our minimum duty is to leave the world at least as we found it when we came into it, not spoil it and destroy it. We should really try to leave the world a better place than we found it. Right living becomes very important. We must tune our lives in such a way that everything that comes in contact with us is improved. Everything we touch must get divinized. See, that is the duty of a human being. And of course, the benefit of the atmosphere. Babuji was always talking about atmosphere, atmosphere, atmosphere. He said, I'm telling you, atmosphere is very important. You must preserve the atmosphere in the house in such a way that it becomes a temple. I want that every house should become a temple. I want that every house must have a preceptor in it. This he said in 1965, 40 years ago. I said, what do you mean? He said, atmosphere is created by thoughts and activities. He says, you go to a temple, you feel pious. It is not really your piety. It is the piety that is induced in you by the atmosphere there, because people are always worshipping, having holy thoughts, at least for that 10-15 minutes they are there. All this is accumulated and transforms the atmosphere. You go to the market, the atmosphere is different. Clamor, noise, bargaining, talk of money, You go to, say, a butcher shop, it's different. Pain, anguish. This is all because the same activity is done again and again in that place. So this atmosphere, by repeated meditation, the atmosphere in the place is purified. Every person who comes into this ashram says, when I cross the gate, it is different. This gate is as if it divides two different worlds. And of course it divides two different worlds. This is a spiritual world. Outside is the normal, humdrum world. So Babuji was always insisting on atmosphere. And he says, I look here, we must not spoil the atmosphere. Every time he came to my house here in Madras, he used to sleep in my house. And he was so happy. He said, in your house, I find the atmosphere nearest to the atmosphere in my own house in Shahjahanpur. Once he was quite upset. My father had fallen in Shahjahanpur and had a fracture. And he was very sick. He was almost dying. And he was in so much pain that even when we came back, he was still, in pain for about a couple of months. Third or fourth month, Babuji came. Just as he was about to get up the stairs, the steps in front of the house, he took off his chappals, stood there, and looked at me and said, Pasati, what have you done with the atmosphere in this house? I said, Babuji, I have done nothing, but why do you ask? He said, it spoils. I'm telling you, it is not good. It is not as it used to be. Then he went into the room occupied by father and said, I now understand, you see. It is his pain and his suffering that has caused this. I will clean it. That is another reason why we should suffer without suffering. You remember what I told you about Lalaji. Even when he had the acutest pain, he used to sing God's praise in the form of bhajans. Now that creates good atmosphere. He is suffering, but he is able to create a good atmosphere. We are suffering, we destroy the atmosphere. So you headache, and one Madeline Badass here and somebody else from there. Oh, darling, you are suffering. Oh, malnourished, mamma mia. Mild headache, you can't tolerate. And that comes to the question of atmosphere linked to tolerance. How much should I tolerate? And why? Somebody asked Babuji, why should I tolerate pain, Babuji? Don't you think it is masochism or something like that to tolerate pain? In fact, they have pleasure in pain. He said, I am telling you that is perversion. To feel pleasure in pain is perversion. To feel pain in pain is normal human reaction. To not feel pain when you are in acute pain is spirituality. So somebody asked, is it possible? He said, of course it is possible. If you are in constant remembrance, you may not feel the pain at all. You will feel a pinprick, you see, and that's it. When we create our atmosphere at home, we make it possible for this atmosphere to radiate out. The more and more we do, the more and more it spreads. It goes to the village, it goes to the city, it goes to the state, and eventually it fills the whole country. One man. That's why Babuji said, one saint of caliber is enough for this whole world. He sits and meditates, the whole world is changed. I sit and meditate, my house is changed. You sit and meditate, at least your meditation room is changed. You see how it works. The more we do, the more the world benefits. My benefit is, of course, always assured. I remember an old story I read or heard about a couple, American couple who are walking in the Himalayas near Hardwar, Rishikesh, they went up higher and higher. And at one point, they found an old man in a short dhoti like this, sitting under a tree, just like this, one leg folded, one leg straight. And they sat down and said, what are you doing here? He said, oh, I'm doing nothing. But then they said, no, shouldn't you be contributing in some way? You are a human being, you eat food, and you are sitting lazy and idle like this whole day. He said, well, I do nothing. I eat little. But I can work if I want to. Yes, sir, then why don't you work? He said, how do you know I'm not working? They said, but if you work, somebody should see it being done, no? Work has to be done. People who see you will know that you are working, but you're just sitting a lazy fellow here. He said, in your country it is like that? They said, yes. What do you do in your country? He said, oh, I go at 7 o'clock in the morning to work. I have to drive my car 30 miles. And then, every moment of the day I'm busy. He said, doing what? I said, he writes this, I do that, I dictate. What effect? He said, we make more money. My company has to make money every year. Otherwise, I lose my job. So you are making money for somebody else. What are you doing for yourself? He said, that's a funny question. I make money. Is that all? What do you do with your money? Well, I buy my food. I have a house. He said, I also buy my food. I have a house which is this tree. How do you think I'm any worse than you? He said, but you have nothing here. In my house, I have television, I have this, I have all the modern. He said, what is a television? He said, you switch it on, you can see what's happening all over the world. He said, give me that big piece of rock there. He said, he took it. He said, look into it. And he saw his house in New Jersey and his daughter of 16-year-old, seriously ill, and his the girl's grandmother, that is his wife's mother there, weeping in one corner, 3 doctors in attendance. He said, oh, I'm shocked. Is this real? He said, you are seeing it. I'm not seeing it. They were so frightened. They came down to Hardwar. And in those days, the only telegram, they sent off a telegram. How is everybody at home? And back came a telegram 3 days later. Daughter seriously ill, come back home immediately. They went back to the mountain to consult the saint. He was not there. So you see, we have more ways of doing and seeing things than technology provides. However wonderful that technology, however mighty that country. And that is what Babuji means about, reading the atmosphere. He said, you can read the condition of an Abhyasi. I said, how to do it? He said, it is very easy, but most people find it very difficult. I don't know why. I said, how is it easy? He said, just close your eyes and make your mind blank. If you make your mind blank, you will see the condition. And it is possible. And then he said, now you go to the atmosphere. You just sit down and you feel it. You feel the atmosphere. As I said, people cross the gate and see the change. Isn't it? How do they perceive? It affects their existence in a total way. We have known people who move houses and go to a different place, and the day he says, oh, the moment I entered, I felt the shivers. We are not renting this house. When it is very gross, we feel it. We human beings, we have perceptions for grossness, but for subtleness, we don't have perception. Babuji said that you have to develop. This you feel because it affects you. You have no choice. You are not really perceiving anything. It affects you. You go to a cow shed, you will smell the cow dung. Not because you are sensitive, but because that is so gross, you cannot avoid it. So that you don't have to develop. You have to develop sensitivity and to protect yourself from allowing that to affect you. This does not affect you, though it should. It will affect you when you yourself become subtler and subtler, and then you are able to perceive. Otherwise, he said, I think Jesus Christ said, I am telling you, throw not pearls before pigs. What does the pigs know of the value of pearls? We are like that. So we have to be educated to feel subtlety in the atmosphere. Like in everything which is good, which is subtle, we have to be learned, we have to be taught, and we must be willing. So he came back to the question of willingness.